Welcome back to Night Mind, friends. It's great to see you on a night like this. Much quieter and more atmospheric than usual. I get a craving for ambient and sensory projects this time of year. Those immersive experiences that give the impression of a secret pocket of the universe, especially in an adventure sense. Imagine this: found footage, high-quality digital camera, wide open fields with surreal abandoned buildings late at night. Do you like the sound of that? It's what we've got in store. And if you're the kind of person to enjoy ambient 3 a.m. isolation mood playlists, you're going to love this. It might make you comfortable though, the kind of chilling comfortable a lot of us enjoy, and you might find yourself falling asleep by the end. Luckily, our new friends at Manta Sleep are sponsoring this video, and just in time for the holiday season. Many of you have said you've used my videos to fall asleep while getting a good night chill, and for years, the Manta Sleep Mask has been making that easier for me. I bought one after seeing their YouTube ads, and it's one of the best online purchases I've ever made. I truly am nocturnal. I need to sleep with no light striking my eyes. The Manta Sleep Mask makes sunlight a non-issue, always giving me the sleep I need. Since partnering with Manta Sleep, they've sent me the Manta Pro, perfect for side sleepers, and it's been excellent. They've also been generous enough to send me the Manta Silk and Manta Sound. Manta Silk is stylish luxury, exactly the material and look you expect while delivering the Manta Sleep experience. And the Manta Sound, with its built-in adjustable Bluetooth speakers, is perfect for those of you who need to listen to something to fall asleep, or could use total darkness and soothing sound for certain occasions, like meditating. Entirely adjustable to your need with removable eye cups, Manta Sleep Masks are soft and machine washable material throughout, and truly do block out all those little rays of light you need gone. With so many options to choose, from eye cooling to a weighted mask, there's a Manta Sleep Mask for everyone. And with the holidays about to arrive, it makes a gift that can help get the most rest out of those silent nights. Make this season the most restful you've ever had with Manta Sleep. Available through the link here and 10% off your order with my coupon code NM. This link is also in the video description and pinned comment. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for this sponsor and the offer to Night Mind viewers. Now, let's take a trip into a clear, open, dark land and feel something cold and quieting. Briscoe Park only has 2 sentences for its channel description. Don't ask, just watch. Beginning at tape 4, the experiences within are titled up to tape 14 at this moment, and all thumbnails present an immediate taste of the experience. Isolating, mysterious, uniquely intimate in discovery. Opening the first upload, we see internal labeling. Tape 4, Barrel, Subject 9D, Source 1310-73-2. October 21st, Year Unknown, 3:23 a.m. The source number is the Chemical Abstract Service Code for sodium hydroxide, a common ingredient in manufacturing and household cleaners. The video description adds, submission statement, barrel mostly contained, minor disturbances detected, follow-up not required. The video opens here. Every upload to Briscoe Park is like this, an isolated place, a silent approach apart from the natural sound of the environment. One bright light, and full dark beyond. The explorer examines the house a bit more, then enters, meeting only a pigeon. Disturbed, it flies off, isolating them further. Deeper in the house, they come across a barrel, spoken of in the title and notes. A string of code flashes along the bottom of the screen, the reference code for the CIA's collection of Freedom of Information Act releases. This document was published January 16, 1974, from Project Stargate, the U.S. government's psychic abilities and remote viewing program, and is titled, "Is Ours Only One of Three Universes?" It was written by Dietrich E. Thompson, a physicist who worked with the magazine Physics Today and Science News. Immediately, we have a sense of who the explorer might be, an agent of a division dedicated to monitoring abnormal phenomena. They continue exploring the abandoned house. Minor disturbances detected, the video description read. Definitely the case. They filmed the house on retreat, leaving us to wonder what made that noise. At this moment, I leave you the opportunity to experience the rest of Briscoe Park and its disturbances on your own before continuing with a review tour. I highly encourage you to do so, as with all adventures we come across on Nightmind. The immersion of this experience is not at all the same here as it is on your own time, in a much more isolated viewing manner. Go on. The link to a playlist containing tapes 4 through 14 is in the video description, with the first 6 on continuous play through a 32-minute compilation upload. When you've completed your journey, join me back here, and we can light up some of the darker spots together. Are you ready? Let's begin. Tape 5, Window. Subject 12A. Source, Scan It. 9:46 p.m., October 22nd. Scan It refers to Project Scan It, the precursor to Project Stargate, which began at Stanford Research Institute under Russell Targ and Harold Putoff. In the video description, submission statement. After further review, I was being watched. Follow-up not required. The agent finds himself on a road near what seem to be several churches. They cross a large, empty field towards one in particular and keep going. Were you able to catch what the agent found on review? Here, let's run that again. Look at the window. Another abandoned home, this one more furnished. The agent steps inside, guiding us through the decay. A pair of glowing eyes, quick movement. Yes, someone or something was watching. The agent proceeds through the house, giving us the experience of what might be called more accurately rural exploration. It's a trip through time, seeing evidence of decades past, with shots as prominent as a 90s or 2000s TV smashed and leaning against a 50s wood-sided dial set. Further exploration unveils the nearby buildings, their exact purpose is known to farmers, but to us, just recognizable as general farming use. Neighboring buildings also lost to time are quietly observed, but not entered. After a bit more exploration, the agent appears satisfied, leaving this place behind. Tape 6 is noticeably different at the start as it lacks the previous rhythm, leaving out a title, subject, source, and date. In the video description, we can see submission statement, minor visual and auditory disturbances. Follow-up may be required. The agent is once again at what appears to be a church. They enter by way of a long staircase leading to the second floor. The church appears to be devoid of any furniture or evidence that anyone resided there. The agent makes their way back outside and surveys the area. With nothing observable of interest, they enter the first floor, and we find it in much better condition. Clean, long wooden benches and black and white photos on the wall. Unlike the previous buildings, this one looks habitable and not in a state of disrepair. As the agent zooms in on the picture, we see groups of men and women posing for each photo in aged attire, helping mark the date. We got to examine a few photos, but no shot of what made the agent rush out of the church. They do shine a light back on the first floor, catching this view of something humanoid in the window on the left. Is there any possibility of catching it before now? If you go back to the moment the agent fled and take it frame by frame, you'll see it in a motion blur in just one glance, sitting in a chair. It had been watching since the agent entered the first floor. Away from the anomaly, the agent finds himself among a field of small trees and a tall wooden cross. It looks as if the years 1534 and 1934 are written on each side. Under the cross looks to be a monument or grave, but this begs the question, what did someone memorialize in this spot over the span of 400 years? It is a graveyard. One would assume it was from the establishment of the community up to its point of abandonment, because nothing besides that could have lived so long. Or could it? Tape 7 brings the following description. Submission statement. No disturbances detected beyond last distance documented. Follow-up not required. The agent shines their light on an abandoned house, aged and in a familiar state of disrepair. Enough broken windows adorn the house to make for an unsettling feeling. We seem to be alone. But as our previous tapes have come to show, what may seem abandoned may be holding its breath. It's not long before we see a familiar trend beginning to take shape. A small pair of glowing eyes out in the field, visible through the center window. Why is this agent being watched? What exactly do these eyes belong to? Does this mean that we're never truly alone in these investigations? This home is similar enough to the others, except for one fatal message. A noose waiting in an empty room, swaying ever so slightly. Our thoughts mimic the agents as they follow the line to the other end. Nothing. For now. The agent proceeds through the house and ends the tape in the field outside. A moment of peace. Tape 8. Description reads, Submission statement. Visual disturbance detected. Cornfield. Follow-up not required. A blood moon sits at eye level, just above the dandelions and dead corn sprouts. One may wonder in the agent's position if it were an omen, a lone celestial body surrounded by unending darkness. The sky is always dark in these videos. This begs the question, is it always night when footage is taken, or is the sky always dark? As the agent explores the cornfield, a single chair appears in pristine condition. They continue through the field without any incident, until breaking into a run without any apparent cause or panic, until the tape cuts to another abandoned house. The agent explores. No remarkable findings occur. Another abandoned building follows, this time immense in size and styled in the fashion of the Russian landmark, St. Basil's Cathedral. As we've learned, never alone. No sight of whoever did that, unless you look closer. There's a spot of odd movement near the top of the bush. Do you see the faintly moving pale head observing the agent? This creature may have been following since one of the previous buildings. At 127, in the window at the far end, there's something gray that catches the light just faintly enough to be noticeable. It may or may not show up depending on screen brightness, but something is there. The agent continues through the building past the gates, clearly another structure for religious services. As we get to the second floor, two birds swoop in from the darkness and fly around the agent. Though we've seen birds take refuge where humans have left, it's worth a moment to observe how often the agent appears in religious structures. In a religious context, the partnership of two birds carries important meaning. The marriage of life and death, or, if these two birds are turtle doves, a passage that may well have been read at some point in this very structure goes as follows. Luke 2:24. And to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons. These offerings, associated with Mary and Joseph's presentation of Jesus at the temple, reflect humility and obedience to religious duty. The last shot of this tape is of a cemetery with a grouping of tombstones bearing the mark of the cross, another repetition of the agent traveling sacred space. One grave stands apart from the others, black granite, sitting low to the ground. Why is this one grave different than the rest, and why the focus? Are you wondering yet where tapes 1 to 3 are? Another religious note for you. The number 3 is holy, marking the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Matters of religious implication can be held under a question mark regarding what we've seen, but it's a good idea to keep it on the table as we proceed. Tape 9, description reads, Submission statement, visual disturbance detected, attempted to make contact, follow-up not required. Our agent is walking through a forest. The sound of crickets and the calm of the night is all we can make out. Unlike the other tapes, the mysterious watcher in this footage is much more obvious as 2 glowing eyes can be seen on the left side of the screen before quickly running off without a sound. The agent doesn't appear bothered. We're provided a scenic view of a pond, nothing out of the ordinary save for a mysterious screech in the background. This is until we catch a glimpse of the same pair of eyes as earlier across the water. The next scene catches something skimming towards the agent, who stands unmoving. The eyes get closer, almost as if getting more comfortable with the agent's presence. Why isn't the agent more scared? Who exactly should be afraid of who? Is this the attempt to establish contact? The agent finds himself in a crevasse, a low buzz replacing the sounds of crickets from earlier. How is it that we're suddenly without nature sounds? This path is much more unusual for it. After returning to nature, the agent crosses a long rope bridge. At this point, we would pick up the pace too. The tape cuts to another building, this time with multiple white lights visible from afar. Even the interior seems to be lit. After all this time, what could introduce us to a new sense of fear? A lived-in, abandoned home. Lights are on. A fire is going. A sense of intruding on someone's night. 4 empty plates are laid out for dinner, and a vintage record player spins without any music. Just the constant popping of wood from the fire can be heard. After exploring upstairs and finding a locked door, the agent makes their way back down and pauses on the stairs as a rapid knocking echoes through the house. As the agent explores the downstairs bedrooms, a pale face quickly appears in the bottom right frame of the window before a rocking chair begins moving without ever being touched. The agent points the camera at the chair and proceeds to leave the building quickly. I've examined the movements around this scene quite a bit. The way the face seems to turn into a more ordinary reflection as the light turns away and then repeats that look as it swings back across makes this a moment that's difficult to gauge. Was it the face of whatever's been stalking the agent? Is it a reflection that looked like the creature for a moment? The sightings we do have and the paranoia accumulated over the experience result in a state of uncertainty for some of these. We may begin seeing monsters where they don't exist, or missing them as part of the environment. What we can verify, that rocking chair's movement, untouched by any human hand. What's happened here? And what's happening in general in this world? Always dark, no stars, and the only sighting of the moon was a blood moon. Is it time to begin discussing the possibility of crossed universes, as referenced at the start? Tape 10, description reads, submission statement, followed and watched, attempted to make contact but subject leaves, follow-up not required. The agent finds himself in the rain this time, out in an empty forest. Nothing but trees and darkness for miles. The agent immediately zooms in on a faint white light in the far distance that quickly flickers away. A moment later, the eyes seen in previous tapes make their return. The agent moves closer, unafraid of what's ahead of them. A bird appears from behind and calls in the agent's ear before quickly flying off. We make our way to a large tower. It appears to be the Airlie Monument, located in Scotland, erected in 1901 for the Earl of Airlie. By this point, the rain is coming down on winds so fierce it's falling horizontally. As the agent gets closer to the monument, they turn around and capture multiple white lights in the distance. More eye reflections. Suddenly, we're taken away from the tower, our agent standing amongst a group of sheep roaming a hillside. Another cut occurs, and the agent finds himself at another abandoned site. A very odd miniature cement or stone structure. Tape 11, description reads, submission statement, stones in perfect alignment. Hearing was limited in the forest. Follow-up may be required. Immediately playing tape 11 after the previous one helps highlight the dreadful silence that has occurred in the investigation thus far. This tape begins with loud, wavering music overlaid with multiple cuts of the area. Interesting how that occurs, and we understand from the description that it was difficult to hear. A mother sheep is seen lying with 2 of her young staring at the agent before walking away. A white light is seen in the background before the tape cuts to the agent exploring underneath an aqueduct. In a quick shot, we see a close-up of a glowing set of eyes in the top right corner. The agent walks across a stone bridge to another abandoned structure, the Donan, located in Scotland. The tape ends with the agent walking past the potted plant with glowing eyes inside of it towards a closed castle door, teaching us where else a creature in this world can hide. The stones in alignment aren't precisely clear from this tape. They might be the stone spires, or towers, around 30 seconds in, but maybe we heard them instead of seeing them. It would stand to reason that an agent dealing with anomalous phenomena would also be ensuring anomalous means of defense or containment are in working order. Tape 12, description reads, submission statement, no disturbances, nothing following, follow-up not required. The agent walks through a field of impossibly green flowers, almost reminiscent of the field of reeds, the Egyptian afterlife, an idealized vision of one's life on Earth. A collection of sheep stand in a barren field looking around as if lost. Multiple glowing eyes appear in the background. It's impossible to tell if these are sheep or other entities. Another cut in the tape brings the agent to a massive standing tower. Not our first time in this kind of situation, but this one much more impactful. As the agent enters, they tilt the camera up at a massive black hole, buzzing with energy, making one feel as if they're going to fall up into the sky and into another world. As soon as the agent steps out, the buzzing stops. The agent finds themselves at a cute cottage with a maintained yard and a lived-in feel. A cut in the tape shows a street sign, Huntington Road. An owl is heard as the agent moves closer to another tower structure, King Alfred's Tower in Wiltshire, England. The moon appears for the first time since its blood moon moment a few tapes ago. No other stars are visible in the sky. These towers are common enough now to take us aside for a quick lesson. In tarot, there are a few cards that can come across as scary. One of the only cards that truly gives a reader pause is the Tower. There are in-depth lessons that can be taught concerning the meaning of the Tower, but generally, in the Tower, we come to a strong, striking clarity that overthrows our previous conception of an ideal or situation, ejecting us from a lofty or isolated position on the matter, and removing the crown of value we used to hold on it. Towers are incredibly positive, even if the tower event is tumultuous or upsetting. The lightning flash is a revelation that sets you free. And in order to be greater, we need to be thrown out of towers that weren't doing us any good. The tower evokes the myth of the Tower of Babel, a massive building meant to reach God by physical means. God struck the tower down and left the people scattered and confused with all new languages. forcing them to understand that reaching God meant learning to communicate with each other. In the world of Briscoe Park, we understand things are not normal as we've known them. Is the agent coming to an understanding between tapes of the situation in a fashion similar to, or alluding to, a tower event? What do they know of the situation that might not be true or will come around to the truth? Tape 13 is missing, so we move to the latest tape of this investigation, tape 14. Description reads, "No photo of Elizabeth's daughter was found. Leviathan said it would be here according to his notes. Follow-up required," which is the most consequential writing yet in terms of story we could receive. Why are tapes 1 to 3 and 13 missing? There's been no mention of any group or organization leading this hunt, so who is Elizabeth and her daughter? As for Leviathan, that's got to be a code name. Why would Leviathan have a code name whereas Elizabeth doesn't? Leviathan is often an embodiment of chaos. It's mentioned in several books of the Hebrew Bible, Psalms, the Book of Job, the Book of Isaiah, and the Book of Enoch. The Leviathan in the Old Testament appears in Psalm 74:14 as a multi-headed sea serpent who is killed by God and given to the Hebrews in the wilderness for food. In Isaiah 27:1, the Leviathan is a symbol of those who will be slain by God. The idea of paying closer attention to religious and occultist symbols in the story is gaining rapid importance. Tape 14 begins with the agent coming across a manor. Trash and furniture is strewn about the place. The agent stumbles across a French newspaper from the Lox region, finally giving us a sign of an active human world. A bat or bird flies in and out of frame, and the agent slowly attempts to follow where it went. Mobility chairs are outfitted on every stair of the house, and items from decades of life and family mix in nearly every room of the home. Whoever lived here did so until they were truly elderly, unable to move around without major mobility assistance. Pictures and cards are littered on a bed, with an image of a young child in the center. The agent flips over one of the cards and reveals a handwritten note in French. The agent continues through the house, revealing more personal photos of the previous residents, clearly searching for the documents pertaining to Elizabeth's daughter. More family photos are filmed, and not much activity occurs as the agent wanders through the space. They're more thorough here than in previous tapes, and it's hard to imagine finding the objective. On the third floor, there's a thud and a quick flicker of a black shape entering the room in front of the agent. Once again, the birds that have taken over. The agent works their way through the rest of the house without incident. There is a hint of oddity in the building, though much more subtle than before. Around 5:40, some droning in the background flows into music in a similar tone to earlier, looking into the tower from tape 12. and at 6:22, there's a cut in footage between rooms with some sort of purple-red distortion that suddenly fades. Once the agent is done inside, they're back out in the wild, and something is clearly attempting to follow them. It's almost like the agent is truly scared for the first time as the camera swings back and forth looking for the source of the sound. They back away and pick up their pace, keeping the light trained ahead. Later in the night, the agent films a close-up of the moon, another red tone halfway through its cycle. Another shot less than a minute after reveals a white, full moon. Very odd. Further on, while traveling, prominent white lights appear in the dark. The agent isn't alone once more, and these seem bolder. And here we are again, at a tower. The area around the agent is barren. This tower feels more like an obelisk, something meant for a greater purpose. The agent enters the tower and climbs, but in the ascent, the tape cuts. A black tower is filmed at the center, backlit in the fog. Suddenly, at 14:04, the agent reveals they stand between two of them. Tape 14 ends at exactly 14 minutes and 14 seconds. Briscoe Park is a dual-function web series, an ambient, almost fugue state experience, providing touches of quiet surreality and chilling comfort, and a subtle paranormal narrative with a silent protagonist in a haunting world. It goes without saying that this is a skilled creator as camera operator and editor, with an excellent cinematic eye who understands how much feeling can be conveyed in a single shot or well-chosen location. There are times where we just need to feel goosebumps, and Briscoe Park delivers in a way that never loses the atmosphere. I feel as if we needed the excellence it's brought in a way we haven't experienced in a while. The narrative to this world is developing, and further takes will provide us with answers. For now, subscribe to Briscoe Park, and wait until the blood moon rises again. In the meantime, if you're looking for more explorations, there are literally 14 uploads over on NM Live, my edited stream channel, including The Complete Hiding in My Home, The Complete How to Henry, ASL by Spencer Lackey, Vita Carnis, by Berde Part 3, The Tangivirus Saga, Hollowbirds, the new project by the adapter of Ted's Caving Journal, the Jack-O-Lantern ARG web series, Tulpa Effect, a Slenderverse classic from the days of Marble Hornets, the Welcome Home Halloween update this year, Angel Hair Season 3, Underwater Wonders, and a Pen Dog Creative Library. It's more Nightmind, much more often, just in a different format and with more style for a direct experience, often with creators appearing in chat. Join us live if you can too, over on Twitch. I've had a lot of the edited stream viewers come over excited they can make it during one of our nights, and I'd love to see you too. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thanks to the creator of Briscoe Park for making Briscoe Park. Thanks to all of you for watching and supporting it. Thanks to Manta Sleep again for sponsoring. And thanks to my supporters on Patreon, who empower not just Nightmind, but the Nightmind Index for new, undiscovered, and emerging unfiction projects. And it supports my editor Moone, who I'm also thankful for, who picked up the foundation script for this video and built the visual render. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like two pairs of glowing eyes out in the night, you'll be seeing me again real soon. Until next time, sleep tight.